Hi, everybody, and welcome to the webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about navigating cross-border e-commerce. I have a great panel of different speakers with me today. We're all going to be talking about different topics. So I have Jana with me, who's going to be talking about how to translate your listings into sales. I'm going to be talking about how to sell cross-border into Latin America. Yalchin is going to be talking about how to quickly analyze market proportion among different sellers, brands, and listings, or is going to be talking about insider secrets to mastering Amazon compliance in 2024. And Richard is going to be talking about are you profitable in each geographical region you sell, which is a very important topic. I think many sellers don't make as much money as they think. I'll be starting off, and if you have any questions today during presentations, feel free to throw them in the chat or in the Q&A section, and we'll try to get to them at the end of the webinar. Each speaker will be talking for about 10 to 12 minutes, so we'll try to get into it from there. And I will just go ahead and start off talking about selling cross-border into Latin America. And there we go. Everybody should be able to see my screen, correct?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for confirming. So myself, I am the co-founder of AMZ Advisers. I'm also the co-founder of GoAdvance. What we do is we help brands sell cross-border and sell in Latin America. So we have a lot of experience dealing with e-commerce in Latin America. A little bit about me. If you don't know me, I am a former consultant. I've been in the e-commerce space, Amazon e-commerce space, for 8+ years. And as I mentioned, I'm a co-founder of the two companies. AMZ Advisors, we help brands expand globally, not just Latin America, but outside, as well as Europe. In GoAdvance, we are essentially a distribution business in Latin America for brands. So first of all, why should you care about LATAM? These are the 2022 numbers, but as you can see, the market is comparable. UK was about 30.1 billion in 2022 in total sales on Amazon. DE was about 33.6 billion. Japan, Amazon was about 24.39 billion. LATAM in 2022 for total e-commerce sales was between 140 billion and 350 billion. So it is a significant size when you actually look at how big the market is. And another interesting thing to look at is worldwide changes in wealth distribution. And as you can see in this column right here, change in wealth per adult, pretty much everywhere in the world except Latin America saw a decrease in wealth. This is in 2022. So you have e-commerce consumers in Latin America that are becoming more wealthy. They're looking to spend more money online. And because of that, e-commerce is growing faster. When we look at Latin American distribution, the largest marketplaces are Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, followed by Argentina, Chile, and Peru. Beyond that, there's a variety of smaller marketplaces in countries like Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, and Venezuela. Mexico is Latin America's second largest marketplace. 57% of all e-commerce shoppers buy cross-border in Mexico. I myself live in Mexico, like I mentioned. Many times the products that I'm looking to buy are not available here in Mexico, so I need to buy it from the US. I buy it from Amazon.com in the US, or the product is available through the NARF program, North American Remote Fulfillment, and I buy the product on Amazon Mexico that way. So it's very common for buyers in Mexico to shop cross-border. E-commerce growth in Mexico is also extremely strong. 2022 is about 18%. I think the numbers for 2023 were comparable. It's still one of the top, I think, 10 fastest growing e-commerce marketplaces in the world. So Mexico is continuing to become more and more important in the e-commerce space. Here we go. Here is the e-commerce share of retail sales. So this is the proportion of how many sales happen online compared to the total retail sales. And you can see Mexico and Brazil both make this list at about 11.3% in Mexico and 10.7%. Now, that doesn't seem a lot, but when we look at other countries that are comparable, like the US, for example, another country in the Americas, it's only at 16.1%. So a good portion of all retail sales are already happening online in Mexico and Brazil. And that proportion is just going to continue to grow over time as we're seeing these extremely fast growth rates. To give you another insight into Brazil, which is the other largest marketplace in Latin America, in 2021, it was the second fastest growing e-commerce market globally. 2022, I believe it was still in top 5, and I think 2023 it was also in top 5. There's about 130 million e-commerce shoppers in Brazil alone, and the expected growth rate of e-commerce is about 70% annually for the next, I think, 5 years. Here's another chart illustrating the fastest growing marketplaces in 2022. You can see Brazil there at number 4. Mexico comes in at number 9. So they were both extremely strong growing platforms in that year. Another interesting thing to consider, this is another stat on why Latin America is so interesting for most foreign brands, is that when we look at foreign brand preference, Brazil has some of the highest preference in the world. It actually is the highest preference in the world. So Brazilian consumers would prefer to buy foreign goods than they would prefer to buy Brazilian-made goods. The same concept exists in Mexico. There's actually a term for it. It's called malinchismo. It's essentially thinking that things that are made domestically are cheap, foreign-made products are better. And because of that, there's a lot of demand for foreign-made products in Latin America. Now, the main question that most people deal with is when I'm selling cross-border, how do I essentially deal with the logistics? Well, there's a couple different ways. The first one is drop shipping from a 3PL or your own warehouse. The pro of this is that you have your inventory management all handled in a single location. There's no cross-border fees when you're actually sending the product. The fees actually get passed on to the end consumer, which has its own pluses and minuses we'll talk about briefly. And you also don't need a tax ID in each of the marketplaces that you're selling in. The cons are that it's going to have a negative impact on your conversion rates. Not only is the prices going to be higher for consumers because there are a lot of hidden costs that come in. There's customs, there's VAT taxes, there's a lot of things that the consumer pays that you don't see as the actual seller. All of that's going to lower conversion rates, and it's also going to prevent the amount of market share that you're going to be able to capture. It's essentially a good way to test a market, but it's not a great way to scale up a market. The other option that a lot of brands are using for Latin America is the North American Remote Fulfillment Program with Amazon and, Mercado Libre's Global Selling Program. They're essentially the same program in that inventory is shipped from the US. It's the same thing as essentially drop shipping from your own warehouse. The pros are that it's simple to set up. Inventory management is easy because it's all handled from a single warehouse. You have no cost. You don't have to get a tax ID. You don't need a business entity. But again, the challenges are that there are limited item choices. Certain products don't qualify for the NARF program or for the Mercado Libre Global Selling Program, meaning that you can't sell your products this way. There's also the same issues with lower conversion rates because it costs the consumer more to get the product. And you also have less of an opportunity to actually to capture more of the market share. And my Zoom bar is hiding the bottom one, but much higher fee percentage, and I can't read the rest of that right now. Selling in Mexico, where do Mexicans shop? So when we're looking at e-commerce sales, Mercado Libre is the biggest platform that people shop on, followed by Amazon. And the additional platforms beyond that are Walmart, Liverpool, and Coppel. A lot of these other platforms are not as popular, and they're growing slowly. AliExpress is probably the only other platform that might be interesting for some brands looking to sell into Latin America. But the main ones you want to focus on are Mercado Libre and Amazon, followed by Walmart and Liverpool, at least in Mexico. Mercado Libre is the largest platform in Mexico. As I mentioned, the interesting thing about Mercado Libre is that it's seller-based, not ASIN-based, meaning that in the US, your ASIN is what ranks in search results. So your ASIN reputation, your ASIN conversion rates, all of that is what impacts search results and where your product shows up. In Mercado Libre, it's actually seller-based. You have to have good customer experience. You have to be providing fast service, responding to consumer doubts. All of that helps you essentially increase your seller rank. And because your seller rank is higher, it increases the indexing of your products on the platform. Mercado Libre also has a global selling cross-border platform, which will allow you to essentially sell from the US in. And the fulfillment is actually interesting, especially in Mexico, because Mexico's largest fulfillment network or largest logistic network is Mercado Libre Full. It's larger than Amazon FBA. Amazon, it's essentially the same as the US. There's tax retention if you don't have a Mexico business ID. FBA is available, but you can't get into FBA if you were shipping product, trying to ship product in country to sell there. So again, you're kind of limited to just cross-border fulfilling from your own warehouse or fulfilling through the NARF program. If you do have a tax ID or are able to get into FBA, it can actually be cheaper in Mexico than what you would see in the US. And then the other marketplaces, Liverpool is the largest department store chain in Mexico. Walmart is obviously Walmart. Coppel is a low budget store, kind of like a dollar store or something like that. Essentially, it is popular among some consumers, but most brands are not going to see a ton of success on Copal. When you're dealing with cross-border, if you're importing the product, VAT is paid up front. This requires a lot of different challenges. You need a business entity, you need an importer of record. The benefit is that logistic costs are cheaper than sea freight, for example. So if you're shipping a product down from the US, it's actually cheaper to get the product to the end consumer in Mexico, which is a great thing. But import duties can be a nightmare for the consumer because those tariffs and those costs are passed on to the end consumer in Mexico. So you don't see it on your selling price, but I've done it before. I've bought computer monitors here in Mexico from the US. They arrive and I get a bill for $100 per monitor in tariffs and taxes. So essentially eliminated any cost savings that I made. Obviously, customer service is the other thing we need to consider here. You're going to have to deal with language challenges when you're selling into Mexico or Brazil for that matter. And then localization, I'm not going to go too much into this because I know Jana's going to talk about this, but generally localization helps your product convert better and it helps your product do better in local marketplaces. Brazil, another quick rundown. Mercado Livre, essentially the Brazilian spelling of it, is the largest e-commerce platform. It did 34.45 billion in sales in 2022. If we think back to what we saw for the UK, Germany, and Japan, this is bigger than all of those. So Mercado Libre in Brazil is bigger than the Amazon marketplaces in the UK and Germany. So it's a very interesting marketplace to get into if you can. Global selling ships to Brazil, but there is a limit. The product cannot be can't be more than $50. Once your product goes over $50, there's significant taxes and fees that come in place, which make it pretty much impossible for most brands to be able to sell into the marketplace. Lojas Americanas is the second largest e-commerce platform. It gets more than 1 billion visitors to their website per year. 60% of the sales on the platform are from third-party sellers, so it is similar to what we see on Amazon. Referral fees are also competitive with Amazon, and they have their own fulfillment programs like FBA and like Mercado Full. So there are options if you can get into the market and sell directly. Amazon's actually the third largest marketplace in Brazil. There's 3 options. Direct to consumer from the US is what we talked about. You can also sell in country if you have a business entity and an ID, but again, that is very challenging for most brands. And other marketplaces where you might be looking at in Brazil would be Magazine Luiza, Casas Bahia, OLX, Dafiti, and Submarino. All of those are different platforms that consumers shop on. Now, the challenges, especially for the end consumer, is dealing with import duties. If the product is over $50, there's a 50% import duty on that. Beyond that, there's also essentially value add taxes and import duties. And all of that can essentially lead up to the actual taxes that a consumer pays when the product comes in being somewhere between 65 and 90% of the actual product cost. So it is very difficult for buyers to actually purchase product. Last mile delivery is also a challenge in Brazil. Domestic shipping routes are the main form of long haul within the country, so they don't actually have a very developed highway network. Most shipments are sent by boat in Brazil from the north to the south of the country, so that does make things a little bit slower. In general, the Mercado Full has a larger fulfillment network within Brazil than Amazon FBA. Amazon FBA only has a couple warehouses at this point, so you are a little bit limited from the FBA standpoint on that side too. Again, we talked about customer service before and localization. So if you were going to sell into Latin America, what would you do? And generally, like I always recommend, the best thing for a brand that wants to test out the markets is to use the NARF program. North American Remote Fulfillment for Amazon, use global selling for Mercado Libre. It's going to open up a lot of markets for you in Latin America, but the thing you have to do is take it with a grain of salt. Your conversion rates are going to be significantly lower than if you were working with a local distribution partner or if you were in market. For example, we worked with a brand that was doing NARF. Their conversion rate was about 1% on Amazon. We brought them into Mexico and we sold the product on their half, distributed the product on their half. Their conversion rates went from 1% to 8%. So there's a significant difference in there, whether you're selling cross-border or whether you're selling in-market. Cross-border is a good way to test the market, but being in-market is really how you're actually going to achieve scale. Again, the benefits of working with a distributor is that you don't have to deal with any legal compliance. You get better pricing control. There's less people arbitraging your product across border. That's another common thing we see in Mexico. And it's actually something that Mexico's been cracking down a little bit on lately. It also improves customer experience because shipping times are faster. You avoid issues with customs, and the consumers don't have hidden costs there. So working with a local distribution partner is generally the best way to go if you're going to be looking at getting into Latin America. And if you need any help, you can scan this QR code right here. I'm glad to talk to anyone about how to sell in Latin America, the different ways to do it, and hopefully have the opportunity to work with some good brands. So that is all for me today. And I did go a little bit longer than I planned, but next up we have Jana, who's going to be talking about how to translate your listings into sales. Thank you, and take it away, Jana.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Love the presentation. Definitely Mexico is a very, very big marketplace opportunity, especially for all the US brands. So now I'm going to go ahead and share my presentation. And can you give me just a... Oh, okay. Okay, so... Oh, sorry. Slide, not share. Okay, let me just go back quickly to the start. Sorry, I was just having some last minute changes. Okay, so yeah, my topic for today is how to translate your listings into sales. Basically, a lot of brands do not think that content is relevant if they don't understand the language that they are using in the listings, which I always can't help but wonder how come that content is important, let's say in English to all of the brands, but it doesn't really matter in German and Japanese and Spanish, like in all of these languages, because content is content, and organically you want to be ranked good and you want to be ranked for relevant keywords. So today I'm going to cover a couple of the things, top mistakes, how to avoid them, importance of localization, keywords, and content. What I want for everyone to take away from my today's talk is that you can try out everything I will talk about, and you can, try it out yourself. You don't have to hire anyone. You can just go to your team and tell them, hey, listen, can you try this out? And you can just let me know if you have any questions, definitely. So first of all, you're probably wondering, why do I even want to use someone that is a human translator to do keyword research in 2024 when we have all of these amazing AI tools and machine translators and all of that? Well, there's a very simple solution, and there's a simple answer to that. So the answer to that is because machine and AI, they don't understand context. So the other day I was going through one of the translations from my team by accident, and then the translation said something about having a weak product. And this was a pacifier holder without a clip. So it was just a pacifier holder you put around a baby's neck. And into all these translations were translated in a way that it said that if it becomes a weak product, like a weak battery, this is what you would use for battery, like you should throw it away. So this is the whole point. Like those machine translators and AI, they don't understand context. They don't understand what this product is about. So the word weak or weakened product was not a good choice for this product. They should have used defect or malfunction or something like that. That would sound better with this product. So no matter how good translations you can get, a lot of times it will be very misleading and they can harm your brand. So if we take, for instance, like these leather cashmere gloves, this is one of the bullets in English. If it's translated by like a regular translation, or let's say you hired a freelancer that has no idea about Amazon algorithm, keywords, anything like that, this is how it would look like. But the Amazon translation with keywords are marked in red. This is how translation looks like. So it has to be a little bit localized. It has to be, the source text is slightly changed, so it corresponds better with the new audience, and definitely it will look different. So you can see clearly the difference between the German translation, regular one, and the Amazon translation with keywords. So this is number one difference when you have someone that actually is going to focus on keyword research, inserting all of those good keywords into your listing, versus just like regular translation from a regular translator that doesn't have a lot of marketing knowledge or Amazon knowledge. Also, when you compare it to a different language, this Spanish translation with keywords will look different than the translation in German. Why? Because keyword research has to be done from scratch, and I will touch on that in a couple of minutes. But the keywords are probably going to be different because the audience in different countries will look for different things. And you can see here that, for instance, like this one is like top search volume is the cashmere, these gloves for men, and you don't have and women, but here you have the other way around. So it's going to be different when you compare like the keywords with different languages. This is just like how the text from English looks when it's optimized. So this is exactly how it looks in a different language. I'm not a fan of big bullets, but this was a good example just to show like how much of a difference it takes when you do an optimization the right way in a different language. Google Translate, as I said, and AI, they can hurt a lot your brand by having something that is completely mistakenly translated. For instance, this listing, this is taken down, so it's not available anymore. But the whole problem here was that the title, it said Donna Grasso. Now, this is a bikini for a plus size woman. And the title said that this is a bikini or like bathing suit for fat women. So you can just imagine the reviews and how wild people went after like, you know, being literally offended by the title of this product, which can easily happen when you use machines or AI. For instance, this product that says in the first bullet in Spanish, and some of you who speak Spanish, it means literally that these accessories for your GoPro camera are really cool when you are a flying tourist, but it means that you're a tourist who spreads their wings and flies, not like you get on a plane, but you literally spread your wings and fly. And there's just like so many examples of like that. Especially like when you're talking about bigger brands, don't be afraid of bigger brands on international marketplaces because these bigger brands really don't know what they're doing and their listings are usually very poor. I do a lot of these analysis on LinkedIn. I have a bunch of LinkedIn videos that tear down a bunch of different listings and brands. Like for instance, like the Braun, this is a hair removal device. So they have some keywords in the title like Rasierkopf and Rasenmäher. So they thought it was going to be probably a keyword they're going to be ranked for, except that Rasenmäher actually means a lawnmower. So you don't want to have like a lawnmower, like a wrong keyword in your listings. You spend a lot of time and money doing that, and then probably you're going to use the same one in your PPC campaigns just because you translated all your list of keywords in English to another language. So this is something that you can't do. So Google Translator AI really, I have to underline this, like you really have to be really precautious what you use it for. Maybe when you want to, you know, translate your packaging, just like having regular translation, that'll be fine, but definitely not keywords and listing because of the context, because of localization. Google Translate can sometimes do a good job and translate the word the right way, but then Amazon doesn't use that translation of that keyword for the actual product. For instance, we have here the sweetened milk can, and you translate it to this word, and this is nowhere to be found. This is not that product. And this is what you will get if you use Google Translate or a regular translator. So this is not great. Leche condensada is the right word, which doesn't come up as a solution. And the second situation is like when the Google Translate can translate the keyword, to rubinetto, which was the case here. It's a kitchen faucet, and it indeed means that this is a kitchen faucet. But when you put this in an Amazon.it, nothing comes up, nothing even remotely close to this product. Like you will see this product on page number 3, and you know how what they say, like where to hide a dead body, it's on page number 2, so nobody goes there. And you actually want to have the keyword miscelatore lavello for this one. So even though this is correct in Italian, and probably a lot of translators will do it this way, if you do a keyword research, you will see that this word does not come up with the keywords that are searched for this product. Talking about localization, this is very important. So when doing translations, you have to pay attention to localization. Translations for Amazon listings are more than just pure direct translation from one language to another. Let me tell you a quick story about Walmart in Japan. So Walmart is a huge giant, as we all know, and they thought we're going to open stores in Japan, no market research, very poorly done due diligence. So they opened Walmart and people didn't like it over there because Walmart doesn't offer freshly produce like local source food. They have discounts. Japanese people love to go hunting for discounts. They like to have a shopping experience when they go to the store. When I was in Japan last year, I fully understood what they meant by shopping experience, because you have like crazy stores, like 5-floor stores that are full of so many different things, and you actually can spend half of a day just like, getting lost like down those aisles. So Walmart wasn't anything like that. And so until this, like they had to close their stores, and there's no Walmart in Japan anymore. Like it's this day they do not exist. But Costco was super successful. And you're probably wondering, like, how come? Like, this is also a, Jewish giant, and you just buy things in bulk. So you buy things in very huge quantities. And what happened is that Costco, probably unintentionally, actually like did the right thing by going to Japan, because they were offering a unique experience in Japan to Japanese audience. They've never ever bought anything in bulk. And for them, this was like going to Disneyland. It was amazing. So till this day, Costco is still active there. They have a lot of shoppers, and they like have a very, very significant revenue in this country. What does it have to do with your Amazon listings and going to one place to another? It's very important. So US style is very salesy, very, very fluffy. If you want to talk to a German audience, you can't use the same language. You can't use the same tone. You have to tone down a lot, and you have to be very peculiar with your choice of words, very specific, very targeting, like what do you want to say? You want to convey the same message, but you don't want to use that fluffy salesy style that's very common in the US. So this is an example of the Payoneer. It's a payment service provider we did some translation for in the past. So one of the key slogans they had at one of these fairs where they exhibited was humility, we go beyond assumptions. Now we had to change that to German, respect, we live up to what we promise our customers, because humility to German people sounds very not professional. Humble service, humble professional service is something nobody wants to see, and they don't think that this is a very professional service. Also, a really good example, one of the bullets that was done from the US to German says cool, cooler, coolest. These were glass espresso cups. So we translated to elegant und stilvoll, means elegant and stylish. So they don't want like this like emotional talk, play with words. They really want to see like the key benefits of the product, and then let me decide what I'm gonna do with this product and how cool it's gonna look in my kitchen. So this is like something which is very very I would say it's straight to business, no small talk when it comes to German, and when it comes to Germans. Conveying the right message is basically the essential what you want to do here, because if we take for instance like this left listing that says pasta like in Bella Italia, this was a US brand they wanted to sell in Italy, but if you tell Italian that the pasta is like in Bella Italia, it won't have the same meaning, and it would not trigger that emotional thing with it, which is very, very specific for Italians. So we did this, we rephrased that as fresh pasta like your grandma used to make. So you get the emotion, and then they understand that it's homemade, which means that it's a very high quality. When it comes to keywords, some of the tools that we love to do, we love to use, are Helium 10 and Datadive. For those of you who are new on the international marketplaces, I suggest just playing around a little bit with Sonar. They do have limited marketplaces eligible with free version, but it's cool to get like the first views of the search volumes and relevancy and all of that. In AMZ Suggestion Expander, which is like a little Google add-on, which you can download, and then it's free, and then you can see like different choices of combinations of keywords that are probably going to be a good ideas for your product. So this is how they look. And long tail keywords are not the same in all marketplaces. This is super important, because all of these tools are set to have long tail keyword as a 2-plus words. While as in German, and now we have Dutch marketplace, we have Swedish marketplace, all of these languages have Germanic root. So whenever you go to Helium 10, we have the word count set as 2, which was done by default, but then we reached out to Helium 10, they changed this to word count as 1. Make sure to put also always number 1 as word count, because you won't get all of those big chunky long tail keywords that you have in German in the list. Like for instance, here you wouldn't get any of the compound words, like one compound word, which actually makes a long tail keyword in German. But if you put one, Schminkpinsel will come up, which is a very strong keyword, 18th on the list. So we'll be missing out on that. So I already mentioned not translating the keywords from English to another languages because they probably will not be so relevant in new countries. So if we take, for instance, like a diaper bag, we had a client selling diaper bag from the US to the UK marketplace. And then the problem was that the seller was losing a lot of money and she was not clear like what was wrong and why was she not converting for some of the baby products. The problem was that, as you can see here, diaper bag, this is the strongest search term in the US market. And then we have the localized ones, which are in orange, like baby shower gifts and the Spanish keywords, which are there because of the Hispanic population, and it's always a good idea to have it in backends. But when you compare the same keyword research with the UK list, so not even a different language, but also English, just another country, you'll see the diaper bag is somewhere in the middle of this table, and the top search term is changing bag. And then we have localized search terms like nappy changing bags, pram bag, nappy changing bag. There's nothing like that in the US keyword list that you'll see here. And also this customer was not actually being ranked for right product because the word diapers in the UK is used to only refer adult diapers, not kids diapers, which was initially the product that this brand was selling. Now, when it goes to the German market is the biggest market after the U.S. Marketplace. Actually, I know you mentioned Mexico, but the German, according to the numbers, because German marketplace does not only include Germany, it also includes other countries that do not have Amazon marketplaces of their own. So you get the access to much more than only German audience. So when we take the same term, diaper bag, which is Wickeltasche. Then we have the Wickeltasche rucksack, which is like a backpack. Then we have the diaper bag big. Then we have the baby bag. So these are all completely different terms. And when we compare this to what the competitors are doing, if you remember, I said at the beginning of my talk that a lot of brands really don't know what they're doing when it comes to foreign content, and it is very easy to organically be ranked for top 3 search terms. And I can guarantee this because I've done my research for even the wet brush, which is a top 5 selling product in Germany, and you can get ranked for that because all of these top 15 competitors, their listings are very poor when it comes to keywords and when it comes to the keyword strategy in listings. So if we take like this baby Tasche,
Sorry, Jana, we're
yeah.
getting short on time here too. So.
Yeah, I'm barely done. Basically, the Wickeltasche rucksack, this is a very strong keyword. And you can also see that from these 15 competitors, you have only 2 that are using this in their title. So none of these others, which are making good money, are not using the Wickeltasche. And Wickeltasche Kinderwagen, which is about 3,000 search volume, it's not top 5 keywords, but it's still very relevant. You can see that none of the competitors are using this anywhere else in their listing. So you would be the first one actually using it somewhere in your listing and the only one to be ranked for that. And there are 3,000 people that are searching for that each and every month. Thank you so much for listening. Here's a QR code. If you have any questions, please find me on LinkedIn. Would love to talk, love to give you any advice. That's it. Sorry for taking a little bit too long.
It's all good, Jana, no worries. And being multilingual myself, it is always interesting reading Google translated listings in Spanish and Portuguese.
Yeah.
So that's always funny. Thank you for sharing everything. And just to remind everybody, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat or the Q&A section. Next up, we have Yalchin, who's going to be talking about how to quickly analyze market proportion among different sellers, brands, and listings. So Yalchin, feel free to take it away.
Hello guys, I'm Yalchin, living in Shenzhen. I'm Amazon seller since 2018 and the presenter of SellerSprite. SellerSprite have been on the market since 2016, maybe the largest database, biggest Amazon private label tool. Maybe you heard, maybe not. Today what I'm gonna explain is mainly related with data and how we analyze. Just one thing we always say is every single Chinese seller use SellerSprite to acquire anything on Amazon. Let's go. Today, I'm gonna analyze some secret data. This is the Amazon. You see, very basic. Now, I would like to analyze and find out sellers proportion and the listing proportion. Let's run Chrome extension. I just searched the bamboo pillow. here we are gonna see different listings, over 49 listings and over 9.3 million sales. If you would like to analyze all of them, just click and click now. And then we are gonna analyze all this listing and create a report for you. For example, a report is ready now, and we can go down to analyze. This is the normal market sales. It's a little bit down. And here is the listing proportion. And the first listing, most probably, this is the Tracios a popular listing, Beckham collection. It got overall 45% of total sales of this market. And you can see different listings, sales and the revenue proportion. Now this is indicating about brands and how many, the percentage they get from the market and how many products each brand has. For example, this brand has 5 products, and if you click over, you're gonna see each single product's market share among all these listings. For example, this one got 41%, the total sales. It represents especially for this brand. And if you wanna see any of this product, you can just click over and to see on the Amazon. Let's go back to down. And likewise, we can see sellers in terms of sales or revenue. Here we see again the Tracios for one listing. And from here, you can analyze. This number indicates how many specifically bamboo pillow this seller has. For example, this seller has 4 products under their account, and you can see any single product under this bar chart, and you can see also their sales, revenue, etc., etc. If we go down, we can see the sellers from USA, from China, their launch date, and the average when they launch in 2013, 17, and the last year, certain products have launched all this year. Actually, I'm sorry, this year certain products have launched already. And the mainly revenue generated reviews who have over 500 reviews. You can analyze and see everything in one single page in just 1 or 2 minutes. You don't need to create a Excel sheet. And the next one is very important. When we analyze the product on Amazon, we see different listings, and we need to analyze those reviews. For example, if you analyze your competitor, or if you want to launch this product, you definitely need to go to analyze your competitor's review to find out what's the problem there. But we have the cool tool here. You don't need to go to analyze all these over 23,000 reviews. You just come and we have the Chrome extension, cool Chrome extension here. Just click SellerSprite review analysis. And if we take all those reviews from here, this review, put ChatGPT on the backend and then create report for you. Here the report is ready. You can see how many reviews each single ASIN gets. Even from our own product, we cannot find exactly how many ratings we have. But by using SellerSprite, you can analyze, for example, the first listing has over 23,000 ratings and over 4,500 reviews. We can split them and analyze and show you all of them. From here, you can understand the customer profile. For example, 33% is male and 67% female. When do they use the product, like nighttime, sleeping, bedtime? For example, where they use bed, home, hotel. This is the proportion. Usage scenario, sleeping position, neck support, general use, back support, and this is the longer explanation each single term. This is the 5 biggest reasons they use, and we took all of them and show you. Next one is customer expectation. What's the customer expected? Firmness. This is over 31%. It means this is very important, and the size is next big matter. The people expected size would be bigger or smaller. You can analyze from here. And the pros is one of the important, what the people liked about this product, comfort, quality, etc. And the most important maybe is cons. Cons is firmness. People expected this product would be firm, but it was not firm. Here they explain how it is. you can go to analyze. This tool can guide you even the main problem out there. For purchase motivation, we can find what is the purchase motivation behind buying this product, comfort, sleep quality, etc. By going down, you can analyze different variation, reviews, ratings, how they get, when, which time, what's the star, and also you can analyze. For example, Bamboo Pillow has been used 69 times, and it's overall 1.5% of total reviews the phrase match. If you would like to filter out only 3-star reviews, given this variation specific time frame, like maybe past year, you can filter out and bring all the reviews, maybe wine reviews or video reviews, etc. You can analyze and find out from here. The review is one of the important part of the Amazon, and we create very unique way to analyze reviews within maybe 2 minutes. I just analyzed this product in 2 minutes. And the next one, let's go to find out the traffic. Traffic is the next most important part of the Amazon. I am on the search page. You can select any product. You can say me analyze this one, and I can show you where this product get the traffic. This is even we ourselves cannot find out where we get the traffic. For example, I can analyze and show you where this specific ASIN get the traffic. Come here and you just click reverse ASIN. We take the reverse this product, and this product get its 56% traffic from Bamboo Pillow. Next, the biggest traffic, Cool Pillow. Next one, Bamboo Pillow, pillows. Fourth one, pillows, etc., going down, and you can see all the keywords, traffic range. Like this ASIN get its total traffic from Bamboo Pillow 56%. But the most important thing here is that we can analyze and find, is it the organic or paid traffic? Let's select another one product, for example, maybe this one. Reverse it, and we can see it is organic or it is paid traffic, because it's also very important. Pillow generate 10% of total traffic, and we see 99% of this traffic is paid. You see from here, right? And the Bamboo Pillow, this specific ASIN get its traffic 28% from Bamboo Pillow as organic, and the 71% as paid traffic. You can likewise see all the keywords. We can see how many clicks they got and how many traffic they got, and it's organic or paid or whatever. Lastly, I would like to speak a little bit the general conversion. We see any keywords like pillow, Bamboo Pillow, even any keywords, we can see come here and we see the exactly the keyword conversion rate, average conversion rate. We suppose and we analyze memory foam pillows has been searched on the Amazon here over 218,000, and it generated 6,471 unique orders. This is total orders, and the average conversion rate of this memory foam pillow is 2.96%. If you would like to see any keyword, for example, cooling pillow, you can see how it helps us. We can filter out the keywords which have better conversion rate, especially when we launch any product. We check out, is it a good keyword? Is it converting better? We analyze our competitor to see how they are using this keyword, and this keyword is good for if you would like to run exact campaign for launching. You have this keyword and this keyword, two keywords. Actually, this is much more better. The reason is that this keyword conversion ratio is actually 3 times higher than this one. Therefore, it would be better to go start with the high converting keyword. It will be better, you will get more that orders, and your CPC is going down ultimately. Your ACOS will go down ultimately. And from here, you can see average PPC bits of any single keyword from SellerSprite. For example, King Pillows have 2.39, and the Pillows has 0.6 bucks for average PPC bits. This is a little bit about the SellerSprite, and if you have any question, you can ask, guys. I will go dive into to explain. Even and this is a small part we can do by using SellerSprite. We have some cool other features, like you can analyze your competitors' PPC, how many PPC campaigns they have, and how many keywords they are, etc., etc. You can find some, even we can say, secret data by using SellerSprite. Thank you. Please let me know if you have any question. I would be happy to answer all of them.
Thank you very much, Yalchin. I was just about to let you know we were running short on time, but I appreciate that in-depth walkthrough of SellerSprite. Next up, we have Or, who's going to be talking about insider secrets to mastering Amazon compliance in 2024. Or, take it away.
Hi everybody, I'm Shamosh, founder of ASA Compliance Group, Amazon Sellers Appeal. Since 2016, I've helped over 3,000 Amazon sellers reinstate their accounts and stay compliant. I also founded an Amazon aggregator and raised over $15 million. And today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I want to help you avoid needing our services altogether by focusing on compliance strategies that will help you be safe. I also see a few of our clients that joined, so pay extra attention. I don't want you to return to us. And the goal is to ensure that you never face a suspension while scaling internationally, globally, and so on. Let's get into it. So expanding into new markets can indeed be exciting, but it has a lot of risks. Each country has different regulations, and missing on one requirement can put your business to a halt. What can happen? Suspensions, delayed shipments, or worse, being banned from scaling in that market. So before we dive into specifics, remember that compliance is a safety net. It may seem like a headache now, and it is, trust me, it's the worst, but it is going to keep you operational and growing, and the key here is to be proactive. Let's dive a little deeper into the most common reasons that Amazon sellers are getting suspended for. So I took all of our clients and I wanted to see, once they are expanding, what are they getting suspended for, so you can avoid it, hopefully. The most common and the most frequent one is labeling, improper or incomplete. Every country has different standards for product descriptions, ingredients, and safety warnings, and sellers often assume that the labels for one market will work in another. We talked about language, so the labeling is also a big factor here. A multi-language labeling is required, is mandatory in many regions. So these oversights can and will lead to suspensions, delayed shipments, or even worse. So the second most common one is safety. Safety regulations, they are different from each country. Even inside the EU, there is no strict policy or guidelines that fits everything. So even if you're selling in Germany and France, it doesn't matter. You have to check each marketplace, especially for toys, electronics, and children's items. These are the most common items that differ between each country. For example, the CE marking, which is relevant for the entire Europe. In the US, it's CPSIA. Environmental, safety, health compliance, you need to check everything. And failure will lead here to recalls. Recalls are a big problem that you don't want to face. So make sure you got all safety standards in advance. How contact your supplier, Google it, ChatGPT it, as we say today. This can help a lot. Next will be intellectual property, IP. These are often overlooked because people assume, hey, I got my trademark, hey, I got my patent. No, you don't. You have it in the USA. You don't have it in Europe. You don't have it usually in anywhere else. So they differ across different countries, and sellers often unknowingly infringe on rights in new marketplaces, which can lead to legal disputes. So double check that your trademark is also valid in the other country. It usually is not, and then you need to register it. But first, make sure that you don't infringe on others' rights, trademarks, designs, patents, and you need to do it before expanding internationally. And lastly, in that phase would be selling prohibited items, restricted items. What's allowed in one country might be banned or restricted in another. If you're expanding into new markets without understanding the local regulations, you risk another suspensions. And once again, it's mainly in electronics, cosmetics, food items, children's items, and so on. And in these cases, you can even risk seizures of your goods and even penalties. So it's not only about Amazon getting suspended, okay, most of it is resolvable. You get suspended, you appeal, you usually can get back. In these cases, you risk recalls, you risk seizures, you risk penalties, you risk legal issues, and I promise you, you don't want to get them. Let's talk a little bit about the labeling. As I said, for example, in Canada, you need to have the labels in both English and French. Different countries also have specific regulations regarding what is needed to be written on the labels. For example, safety symbols, recycling marks in Germany, nutritional information, and so on. Even, again, products like cosmetics, food, or supplements, they require specific allergen warnings, ingredients lists, safety information. So you need to make sure that you understand these requirements for each country and have systems in place to manage labeling compliance. Take some inventory, don't send it all together to all of the different marketplaces. You might need to relabel it. And to safety standards, that's not optional. You gotta do it. When selling internationally, you need to ensure that you meet local safety standards, and that's crucial. For example, for toys and electronics, I mainly repeat these niches because they are the most regulated ones, and most of the people who are wanting to expand and have regulation issues are selling these types of items. So for toys and electronics, different regions require specific certifications. As we said, in the EU, it will be CE marking. In some places, it will be the ROHS. In the US, it will be the regulator, the CPSIA. So you need to check. Again, Google it, ChatGPT it, consult with your supplier, consult with us. The information is out there. You just need to go and grab that information to make sure that you're fully compliant before expanding. And in some countries, you are facing health and environmental regulations, mainly in Germany, the WEEE, products with harmful chemicals, cosmetics, electronics, lead, mercury, chemicals. These face stricter environmental regulations, and the regulator will ask you to send him how many units he sold, and he will request you to pay for it, for each penalty of each item sold. So be aware of it in advance, so you can prepare your P&L and know that you are maybe going to pay some penalties because your product ingredients doesn't match German's regulations. And last for this would be the IP. So, for example, as we said about your brand or product, your trademark, it doesn't mean that those protections extend globally. There are some forms of trademarks that do cover internationals, but it doesn't mean that you don't infringe on someone else that registered it in, even in Canada, in Mexico, in the EU. So you need to check each marketplace that you are expanding to and check it there. And it goes the same with patents, and in some countries, it's in the UK, for example, that would also be design rights, not only design patents, but also design rights. Who knew about that? You got to check that as well. You don't only go to Google patents, you now also need to search the design rights, which are sadly very easy to register and too easy to enforce. And a lot of competitors, especially in the UK, are abusing that system. So if you're going to expand to the UK, pay extra attention to design rights, search about it, and get it registered. It won't cost anything important. Get it done with before you launch your product, because otherwise, if some competitor want to damage you, it can do it in 1 week and get you suspended. And I'm not sure that we will be able to help. You will need to contact a local lawyer and invalidate the design rights. It's not fightable on Amazon. You will need to reach to legal resources to get the design right cancelled. Why do you want to deal with it? Go right now, if you want to expand to the UK, register your design rights, register your trademark, re-register your design patent, and make sure that you are protected. So being protective here, proactive here is very essential, and I advise to pay extra attention to this one. So, as we said, what you can do, if we will summarize, to avoid getting suspended. The one thing that you want to know is that you must be proactive. Start by reviewing your current listings. Ensure that they comply with local labeling, with safety, and with IP standards, intellectual property. Second, each marketplace has different rules. So from product safety standards to labeling requirements, make sure you're familiar with those laws before launching into new country, because you might even need to prepare different inventory. So make sure you're aware of that, or even prepare focus your P&L differently, because you will pay penalties. For example, as I said, in Germany, you need in WEE, you will need to pay, for example, for the packaging. If it's not fully recyclable, they will ask you how many tons, or how many units you sold, how many packages you distributed, and you will pay a few cents for each packaging because it's not recyclable. So prepare your P&L accordingly. And make auditing a routine practice, conduct regular compliance checks, make sure you stay ahead of any potential issues, because we don't want to use our clients. So especially if you are a fast-growing business with a lot of SKUs, be aware of it, because this can also cause you major account suspensions. So this is, and which will also affect your main marketplace, usually the USA. So be aware of it. Take these steps, don't miss it, and it will help you safeguard. It will safeguard your business and prevent highly costly suspensions. Trust me on that. And once again, the ultimate goal is to not need me. If you do find yourself facing a suspension or having any compliance issue, I'm always just an email away. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Or. I appreciate that. And if anyone does have compliance issues, it's a great resource to reach out to. So thank you again for that presentation. Last but not least, we have Richard, who is going to be talking about are you profitable in each geographical region you sell? Just a reminder again, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the Q&A or in the chat. We'll be sure to try to get to those after this last presentation. Richard, why don't you take it away? Do you have a presentation to share?
I do. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having us. I just want to share screen. Can we just switch over? There we go. Give me a second. Great. Guys, I will. I know we've run a little bit on in terms of time, but in essence, this is such a topical. There's a lot of value to be had. It's a huge topic at the moment, expanding internationally. Now, we don't do the sexy stuff. We're not about selling more, right? I founded CronosNow e-commerce accounting firm about 6 years ago. We service clients who are doing 3 million a year to 50 million a year. We've an interesting mix is that we work with USA-owned businesses as well as international businesses. We've got a bit of a strategy as our clients reach a certain level of market penetration, let's just say in the USA or wherever their home country is. We talk about 3 kind of strategies with them and their team of advisors. Do we expand with new sales channels, new products, or new geographical regions? And the new geographical regions is often overlooked, right? And it's such low-hanging fruit, specifically if you're moving out from the USA to the rest of the world. So from an accounting perspective, today I'm going to talk about how making sure you're measuring the profitability of each of these regions. If you're not measuring it, you're in a lot of trouble, right? In order to win at something, you need to measure it. So the first thing is, in terms of your baseline accounting, if you're still using cash basis, the rest of this presentation is not going to help you, right? You have to be on accrual basis, and accrual basis means you've got accounting that's recording sales in the period in which they're happening, and you're matching up the cost of goods sold, not when you buy the inventory, but you're recording the expense when it happens. Majority of sellers we work with or who start with us, they're on cash basis, or they don't even know what type of basis they're on, right? Now, if you're not there, that's step number 1. The second question that we're going to start and where we're going to spend our time today is, are you tracking your profits, not just revenue per region? Now, there's so many great tools to spit out, your sales. Even if we're not talking Amazon, Amazon's probably the easiest because each country has great reporting in a separate format. But what about your Shopify store? How do you put together, if you're multi-channel, your Shopify, your Walmart, and your Amazon in the UK versus the USA? So I'm working from the assumption that you're running through one legal entity. Most of our clients, we have in a single LLC. Even if they're sitting in Germany, we set up a US LLC for them, and they start selling internationally from that. You still got one set of accounts. You're not running different legal entities for each country. So most of our clients are either on Xero or QuickBooks, and there's a cool functionality called tracking categories in Xero, or QuickBooks Online has something called class tracking. And what this does, if you set it up correctly, gives you a mini profit and loss per region, and for our larger clients, even per sales channel per region. So here's a silly little example, right? We're just looking at revenue, COGS, gross profit, and we're looking at Amazon USA versus Amazon UK. Now, for whatever reason, this client has a slightly lower gross profit percentage of 80% for the UK compared to the USA having 82%. It could be differences in shipping, it could be differences in import duties, or VAT capitalized. Let's expand that a little bit. Same client has Amazon USA, Amazon UK, EU. It has Shopify in the USA, UK, and EU. Heck, it could even be the same store that they're using for Shopify, or it could be 3 separate stores, right? And maybe they're selling a little bit else internationally. Now, chances are, one of the big things we like to do is your cost of goods sold, the landed cost in UK versus Germany versus USA could be very different. If you're not tracking that, you could be substantially over-investing or under-investing into a specific region because you got the numbers wrong. So what else are we looking to measure here, right? We're looking to measure the selling fees. So your Amazon selling fees, your Shopify fees, your PayPal fees, your Stripe fees, everything that's related directly to a sale. How are you tracking this per region and per sales channel? Your shipping fees, so your Amazon FBA fees, your UPS, your FedEx for the Shopify, right? Maybe if you've got a 3PL, there is a whole bunch of, handling fees, your pick and pack fees. Again, don't worry about just revenue. What you're looking at, the number I look at the most with our clients and with CFOs and investment banks looking to fund or exit one of the businesses, is this profit before ads. This profit before ads, I don't just look at the total gross number. I look at the percentage of revenue. So you'll see below gross profit, I got GP percentage of 82% for Amazon USA, UK's 80%, etc. But profit before ads gives me a really good percentage divided by revenue. Okay. Measuring that is a great indicator of which region and which sales channel per region is performing well, leads to better decisions. This gets a bit more difficult. Splitting out your ad spend per region, not always possible, specifically in the Shopify space, right? If you're running Google ads, Facebook ads, it gets a bit more complicated to get your attribution really accurate. Definitely doable. So this is the perfect scenario that I would like for you to be able to do once you started establishing yourself into these different regions. The thing that our clients mess up the most is specifically the landed cost per region. Landed cost is, you're buying your inventory from Indonesia, from from Philippines, wherever, from China. You've got a buy cost, the cost per inventory item, right? You need to consider the difference. Foreign exchange, customs and imports duty is different for the UK versus US, and freight is always going to be different. This week you've got a strike on the American coast. Your shipping is going to be very different to what it is in the US. If you're not measuring these things per region, you run a risk of thinking you're doing really well in the UK, for instance, but maybe you're running at a loss. So how are you going to do this? You really need to, you're not going to get this for a $500 a month bookkeeper that's offshore. But when you meet an accountant or a bookkeeping service, you need to ask, are you able to calculate landed cost per region? What e-commerce accounting tools are you using to connect your Amazon, Shopify, Walmart to Xero and QuickBooks? And ask them specifically if they're setting up tracking categories, if they're in Xero or class tracking for QBO. If your accountant can't answer these, they're not the right person to take you into a decent measurement system for your international expansion. I'm not talking about when you're just testing, right? I'm talking about once you're up and you're established and actually monitoring performance, not just whether there's a market or not. So what do? This is all we do. E-com and CPG accounting, we do it globally. The answers that we have to those questions, we do calculate landed cost per region. We adjust for shipping, customs, currency, and we track it every single month. The tools for this, we love A2X, right? We connect that to Xero. We prefer Xero over QuickBooks. If you're using things like TikTok, we use Link My Books. If it's using Fair, we use Greenback. And for our larger clients, we use NetSuite. Setting up the tracking categories. For smaller clients, we sometimes do it just per sales channel. Larger clients, sales channel and per region. And what else we do? We help with implementation of all of this from a systems perspective. And guys, we've got this great network, including some of the people on this call, that we can point in the right direction because we've seen so many clients do it. We've helped over 200 different brands. Getting in touch, we've got a simple sign-up process. And we keep 3 sessions a week open just to help entrepreneurs. If you have any questions, please book a time and have a chat with our team. Cool, that's me. Thanks very much for the time, and it's been really informative today. You got to be thinking about expansion internationally.
Of course, I think it's a huge strategy for most sellers lately is to focus on international expansion. And thank you for that, Richard. We've kind of gotten through all of our presentations now. We do have a little time for some Q&A. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. The first question we have is for Jana. How do you apply proper keyword research in foreign languages?
Well, first is our team. We have 85 people that are fully employed with YLT. I also forgot to do, I always forget to do like the one about me or about us slide. So we've been around for 5 years now. I think we work with over 3,000 brands. We have premium clients like Crocs, Vital Proteins, Nestle Science, National Geographic. All of these big guys work with us. which means that, you know, big brands really want to, you know, make things better with their listings and organic rank. So we have our whole team are native translators that have been educated and they've been trained to understand how Amazon works, and we put a lot of time into onboarding every single one of them. We have a very big knowledge base, so we make sure that it's all up to the latest requirements, all of the TOS, everything, like all the banned words, supplements, like make sure that you don't claim something that you do because that's not possible, and so on. So we have a really tight control in-house, and we make sure that we deliver the results every time. So that is when it comes to how we do things.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Thanks.
And we just got another question in. What are the key categories one should focus for Mercado, especially from India? I guess we're talking about Mercado Libre. Look, Mercado Libre is focused on a few specific categories, and we work pretty closely with them on actually bringing brands into Latin America. The main categories that Mercado Libre is focused on in Latin America are electronics, supplements, beauty products, health products. There's a lot of opportunities for those brands, but we also see strong performance from brands that are in home and kitchen, garden, and a lot of other categories as well. Toys is another good one, baby products. So lots of opportunities, but those are the key markets that Mercado Libre at least is focused on bringing brands in for. So that's that one. Next question. Can we check patent and trademark by using SellerSprite? I guess that's for you, Yalchin.
Yeah, just 1 second. Let me share my screen. It's one of the important things to analyze the patents, especially we have both a database for, sorry, maybe I shared the wrong screen, right? Now it should be okay. This is the product and the random coffee grinder. If you would like to check the patent, design patent for this product, we have Chrome extension. Just click it here and search now. We are gonna pull all the data similar this product, and you can see different products similar with this one, and you can understand this is registered in Japan and the CN meaning China, or if you would like to see from Russia, or this should be international, and even I think this product is similar, but it's the going down from the most similar to less similar. You can see similarity from here. If you would like to go more detail, you just click over. We open this product and they show you from different angles, like front, up, down, who is the registrant, which the country, when they register, when this patent is going to expire, and how to validate. If you would like to download, you can download it from here. If you would like to check the trademark, basically a brand name, we have also a global brand database for that. From here, you can select any country over 120 or something like that. For example, you don't know how to check patent in Brazil, just select the Brazil here, and I put the brand name here, for example, Nike, or what you would like to see. And just a click search, there are over 512 and different time frames they are registered, and you can filter out registered, ended, expired, pending, etc. Like, let's check the pending and the search now. We bring it down here. This is Nike something, Nike Zenvi something. If you would like to go more detail, just click over. You understand who is the owner and how is they when they registered, when it's going to publish, and this is published actually. The entity is from USA. You can see what the trademark is, clothing, serial number, when they applied, when they published, etc. And you can download to send your friends or whatever who you want, like as a PDF. This is the briefly about the patent and the trademark in different countries.
Awesome. That's great. Thank you for sharing all that. Next question
Welcome.
is for Richard. This is actually a question that I find interesting. Is it better to set up a separate country in each region or each market that you're selling in?
So usually the answer for setting up a legal entity, a company or whatever it's called in those regions is no. So the setup that we find the most effective for the majority of sellers is if you're not in the USA, set up an LLC in America, which has a nice flow-through entity, and you're able to register that LLC as a VAT vendor, for instance, in the UK, in the EU, in Australia, in most regions. Now, some countries, I know Brazil's got a whole different ballgame, right? So
Yeah.
Brazil's got a really weird little sales tax system down there. Brazil, you probably would want to set up a legal entity if you were going to set up a large establishment down there. But a legal entity requires separate set of accounting, separate set of tax returns, etc. So wherever possible, try and know. If there's a huge opportunity, first test it, like you were saying earlier, Mike. Use the cross-border, use the different programs that are available, or find a local distribution partner who becomes the importer on record.
Definitely. I would completely agree with that, especially for Latin America. Every market you're going to sell into requires a business entity, essentially. Working with a distribution partner can simplify a lot of headaches for you, and it can also avoid a lot of tax issues, especially if you're a U.S. brand, because countries like Brazil don't have a tax treaty with the U.S., which adds a whole another level of complication. Awesome. Thank you for that. Next question. This is for what are the most common compliance pitfalls sellers face in 2024, and what are proactive steps they can take to avoid them?
So we covered four main things. We covered the labeling, the safety, intellectual property, and restricted items. I would like to add one more thing, which is extremely important, and once again addresses the language barriers and the translations. Keywords. The keywords are a significant factor in suspensions. Let's say I'm sure many of you sellers know of the pesticide suspensions. Many consultants and gurus said, oh, it's a mistake. There were no mistakes there. Let's say you're selling a t-shirt, it doesn't matter what, and you're saying that it's antibacterial. If you're saying that it's antibacterial, it's a pesticide product by definition, by the EPA in the USA. So my t-shirt is now considered to be a pesticidal product. That's it. Simple as that. No errors, no mistakes. Because the keyword classifies the product as a whole. Now, what I want to say is that these classifications can vary between each country. So if we are, for example, translating things and doing it wrongly with AI or Google translators and not using professionals such as Jana, we are going perhaps to get suspended because we might fall on certain keywords, which will trigger a suspension in the targeted marketplace. So pay attention to the keywords, try to have common sense and see what keywords are you using and if they exactly fit your product. If not, think, is that a health claim? Are you promising something that it will prevent anything? Are you making any claims about the product that are popping to your head as not usual? And the last thing about it is that even if, for example, antibacterial, it's in some cases it's prohibited in the USA, it's okay in Europe. There is no problem there. So whatever is prohibited in one country is permitted in the other, and the same thing around. So pay attention not to fall on that.
Awesome. Thank you for all that, Or. And yeah, keywords is always a big issue that I think every agency and every Amazon seller deals with. We got another question. I believe this is for you, Jana. Google has recently warned to drop SEO ranking for AI-generated content. How do we add a humanized element to it? I'm guessing this is in relation to localization and content creation.
So the question is that SEO was dropped for AI, or I didn't get that.
SEO, Google is not ranking AI created content, I guess.
Not ranking that. Yeah. So, I mean, there's like that's not 100% confirmed, but I think that definitely, because like when you use like AI for like creative content, it doesn't become like very creative. It becomes like mediocre. So like for creativity, you go to humans still to kind of like do like get the extra layer of everything, because like now LinkedIn, like you can see now you can recognize which content is AI generated, which content is written by a human. Like you can totally tell. So it's not that difficult to, like it's a difference between the both. But when it comes to kind of, putting something extra in the AI content that's being created, I would say localization is definitely the way to go, because as I mentioned, context, like these AI tools, they don't understand context, and they will probably understand things more literal than they're supposed to do. And of course, the keywords and the research, it all has to be done manually. So honestly, like when someone asks me, like, do we integrate AI in translations, all of that, we would love to do that. But like currently, if you want to integrate AI, it will take us twice as long than as if we're doing it from scratch, because all of the adjustments you need to do, all of the keyword research that you have to additionally embed in the translation. So it takes a lot of work still to kind of make this content stand out that is done by AI, which is originally, like in the first place, very mediocre, to say so.
Awesome. Thank you for that answer, John. Appreciate it.
Sure.
And with that, we're actually going to wrap it up. We don't have any other questions right now. So we wanted to thank you all for joining today and for attending. If you're watching it on replay, we hope that you've learned a lot of great information about how to sell cross-border, how to expand your brand cross-border, and how to avoid many of the common pitfalls that come with it. So thank you all for attending today, and we look forward to having you on the next webinar.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.